Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Everything Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Jalen Bullock.
And I'm your co-host, Isaac Reynoso.
And this week is Musical Week. And we've had the pleasure of covering it greatly in the past, and this year is going to be no different. So to continue that tradition, we're joined by some people who are not just faces on the stage, but who do lots of the behind-the-scenes work for the musical this year. So if we could start over here.
Hi, I'm Arlo Olson, and I'm playing Hugo Peabody in Bye Bye Birdie.
Hello, I'm Nathaniel Crabtree, and I am playing the mayor in Bye Bye Birdie.
Hello, I am May Peterson in the musical, and I'm Brooklyn Birch.
Okay, so kind of going to the more behind-the-scenes job, I'd say. What is stagecraft like?
It's really fun. I mean, we really get to see the whole image before it's put onto stage. Get to see before everything's painted all nice. It looks kind of ugly. It's all pretty much just bare wood until we start painting things and put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice because, like, there's a lot of things, like, you think, like, you have to put, like, so much detail into things, but really, like, from far back, like, I don't know, everything just looks, like, cool. And it's nice to be able to, like, see your creation, like, come to fruition, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. On to the next question. You guys are all seniors, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. So how do you feel with this being your last musical at Redwood?
Well, I know that this isn't going to be my last musical forever because I want to go into musical theater later. But I know I'm going to miss the team behind the scenes, the people that aren't from Redwood but work at LJ or like the makeup artists and all of those people. I'm going to miss them as well.
It definitely is a really awesome experience working in LJ, and I think it's going to be a lot different. I know me personally, I probably will not do musicals in college or anything, so it is kind of like my last chance to act and sing and dance and have fun on stage. But I'm definitely going to miss the people and the stage. It's really special to everyone that does musical.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna, like, look back on this years from now, and it's gonna be a fond memory.
So what is being in the musical and stagecraft as well? What has that taught you since you guys have been in it for so long?
I know for me personally, there's a lot of things. I know just a few days ago during rehearsal, I'm the mayor, so we have these courthouse steps that I stand on. And being my stagecraft head, I notice things while I'm acting. Like, I notice screws are loose and stuff. So definitely looking at your set and knowing, like, what you got to change later in the day takes a little toll on your mind when you're acting.
Yeah, I think you're, like, a little more careful with the set pieces as well, because you just know, like, how fragile things are or how sturdy.
Mm-hmm.
So we touched on a little bit, but do some of you guys plan on participating, like, in performing arts in the future?
I am. I want to go into theater and education when I go to college, so I definitely look forward to it. In fact, the college I want to go to actually has a Shakespeare festival that they run, and so I'm excited to see what that holds.
I know for me, I haven't really thought about it. I really do like drama and musical and everything. It's like a pretty big passion of mine in high school, but I just don't see myself as a big professional in it. It's more of just a fun thing I like to do, to spend my time with. But if I ever were to go into it, I'd probably do, like, theater education, like Brooklyn said. I think Galvan is a really good example of a theater teacher.
For me personally, it's kind of the same thing as Nathaniel. It is really more of a hobby for me. But I'm really interested in the technical side, so I think maybe in the future I might be interested in that.
So I know, Arlo, you kind of mentioned the memories. What are some of your guys' favorite memories from musicals?
I don't know, just, hanging out with people. Like, most of my best friends were made through the theater program, and just, like, I think just forming those bonds. I don't know if there's, like, a very specific memory, but I don't know, just, like, sitting backstage or moving set pieces or looking over at each other in the wings. Those are just, like, the memories that, I don't know, stand out for me, I guess.
The inside jokes between everyone you go behind the scenes and you will create lore and you will you'll just have so much fun and it brings more to the stage because you get so into character with that.
I'd say in every single musical we've ever done, there's always been one song, and I know this is like my favorite part of doing musical is everyone on stage is singing, but in the wings, right behind where the curtains are, there's always that one song that everyone just gets together and just starts screaming at the top of their lungs. And like you never really notice it because everyone's just watching people on stage, but I mean there's people dancing. I know me and Arla will dance around to the songs. It's just it's very lively backstage, and I don't think a lot of people expect that. I think a lot of people expect it to be quiet and everyone's waiting to go on and all nervous, but it definitely helps ease the tension because everyone's just so happy backstage. It's very, very fun.
So we touched a little bit on this as well, but what are like some of the most difficult parts about doing the behind the scenes of the musical?
So for on stage, I would say it's memorization. I love to look at characterization and dive into that, so I don't really think of it as a struggle. I think memorization is more a struggle. And then for going back behind the stage, you'll have a prop that is just not working well. There's something you keep on fudging it, and sometimes you just have to scrap it and start over, or sometimes you have to scrap it completely. And so that's sort of a difficult thing for stagecraft.
I know every year that I've done stagecraft, I've done it for 2 years now, and it's been like you work so hard on one thing and you want so badly for it to work, but sometimes you just need to accept that it's not going to work. And I think everyone's okay with that. Even though you put in a lot of effort into what you're making, sometimes it's just better to go with something simpler. And then definitely like set changes are a big part of the difficult part of like being in stagecraft and being in the musical, because you got to think about you have this like 8-foot house unit that you got to wheel on before everyone gets on stage and stuff. So it's definitely maneuvering everything backstage is very difficult to figure out.
So how do your roles in stagecraft and the musical differ?
I guess in the musical, you're more not really worried about the set as you are more worried about acting and making sure your character is good. But when you're in stagecraft, you kind of like all the issues you noticed while you're on stage start to kind of go into effect. I know like it's a lot of rush jobs of painting and figure things out before the musical actually starts. So it's definitely a different kind of attitude towards the show.
All right. All right. So why is the musical important to you guys?
I think for me, it's kind of just like defines my high school career. I mean, it's like that one thing that I've sort of just like latched onto. And I mean, I guess a lot of my life is just kind of like associated with this program. And so for me, it's just like those memories, everything.
I know definitely the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of people I've known before, but I get to know a lot greater through musical. And honestly, I think it really helps people learn how to be more open and be more socialized with people. I know in the first days of rehearsal, there's people that don't talk to anyone, and they're sitting in the corner by themselves, and by the end, like you guys are going out and getting ice cream after the show and stuff. So it definitely helps a lot of people get into being more social with people and becoming better friends.
You definitely become a family.
Yeah.
So for someone that has never seen a Redwood musical, why do you think they should go see Bye Bye Birdie?
It's funny. It's a really grand experience because you get so absorbed into the show, and you'll be laughing with your friends. I know I've seen shows from different schools, and you'll come out of the theater and you'll just all be like quoting lines, or you just grasp onto it, and it's a fun experience to just have.
I know a lot of people think of musicals as like you kind of have to be a musical kid to enjoy it, but it's just the same as a movie. I mean, and everything you see is very entertaining. And I think I know definitely when I first saw Oz, I didn't do Oz my first year, but when I saw it, it was definitely very impressive. And I think even from someone who doesn't do musical and someone who's not in the theater world, you can stand by and appreciate like what people have worked towards.
Yeah. It's got a good theme of, growing up and learning to mature as well. And yeah.
That's great. Do you guys have anything else you would like to add?
Go see the show.
February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Perfect. So, yes, we have a question from Mr. Miller.
So you, in the story, you were telling about backstage life. In this show, what's the prop that is like, this is not working? Is it the train? It's like those big bulky things. Like, how does that impact life backstage? Like, it's dark back there. There's all these things laying around. Like, how do you guys maintain safety? You know, things like that. What are some things that you do backstage to make those items function the way you function? And have you had any tragic experiences? I remember Mr. Kuhn last year was like welding on stage at one point, right? Like, so what are some specific experiences from this show this year where you're like, wow, this isn't working, or this needs to be changed, or something like that? Do you have anything?
Yes.
Yes. So
Great question.
The main set piece for the family is a big 2-story house. And originally we made a 2-story house. It was 2 platforms. One had steps going up, and the other one was another platform on top that had a room. And so we would have characters be upstairs, come downstairs for different entrances and stuff. And it sucked. It was very difficult to work on.
It was clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we tried it one time without bringing it on, and everything just got enhanced. You know, the set pieces that were on stage, like the table and the chairs, the kitchen counter behind, it really popped out more. You know, it made the set more complete without it, and so we had to take it out.
I think for me, it like helped me realize that like a set doesn't need to be super complex for it to be good. It can be sort of simplistic, and it still gets the idea across, and sometimes even in a better way.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people look at the set as the main piece of describing setting, but a lot of it goes towards lighting. I know we have a really amazing lighting people in the theater program.
Yes.
And like without that, if you just put like normal like yellow lights on stage, it wouldn't look as good. You wouldn't be able to tell that you're in a house. So lighting just somehow gives you the feeling of the setting you're supposed to be in. So I think that really is effective.
And this year we also have projections, which like in the past we didn't have a projection. We added a projection recently, and it's really cool looking at all the different projections we do have and how that enhances, and the colors will match to the props that we have on stage, and it's really neat to look at.
Yes, sir.
I have another question. You said that there are scenes that are made by lighting. Which one for you in this show was like, oh, once you saw the lighting, you're like, oh, like which one do you think is most impacted? So when people go to the show and want to know about lighting, like which scene do you think really does great work? I think that dream scene was pretty powerful.
I agree. I was thinking of that.
And so could you comment on that, or like how is that scene enhanced by lighting?
It's definitely enhanced by lighting because you have like a thing called fantasy lighting where you kind of, it doesn't feel as real, you know, and all the things that are being brought on stage, it's a sequence where a lot of things are going on, and there's just cue after cue of different things going on to enhance what's going on stage. I know there's like fire on the sides, and it's really neat just to see how lighting can be added to the scene to make basically a set.
Yeah, I know definitely in the scene we're talking about, it's very little set heavy, and it's a lot about just the characters and the costumes. And you could definitely get a hint of what is going on just by costuming. But when you add in lighting, you can really tell, like Brooklyn said, there's so many different things that happen very fast. And it just really helps to show, like, the change in what's going on. And even beyond that, it's like lighting does a really good way of, how do I say this? It shows actions. Like if you shoot a gun or if you, like police come in, lighting, it's all part of that. And it really helps to, like, push in your face of the audience of what's actually going on. It makes it more impactful, I think.
Yeah.
That's great.
That dream scene was my favorite.
Yeah.
And the stage is very sparse, right? But there's a whole lot of emotion made
Yeah.
by movement and lighting, really.
They definitely work together to make like a kind of a picture without there actually being something there. It's just pure lighting, but you still can imagine in your head what's going on.
And there's no lines. It's all just music, lights, action. It's really neat.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes like that where it's just all lights and movement, and it's really incredible.
Well, that's great. Special shout out to Mr. Miller with the those are great questions. They were very good and great responses as well. So the shows tonight's the last dress rehearsal, and actually tomorrow morning we will have a review by some of Gigantia's finest reviewers. So that will be on the lookout for that early Thursday morning. But we have the show at 7 p.m. correct tomorrow night.
Yes.
Yep.
Tickets are $12, right? And then we have a show Friday, but that's for like elementary schools, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. So if you have elementary watchers out there, come to LJ. And then on Saturday we have 2 shows, right?
Yep.
2 p.m.
Mhm.
and then 7 p.m. Perfect. I'll be at the 7
There's
p.m.
also a 7 p.m. one on Friday.
Oh, and
as well.
Friday, perfect. All right, so 5 shows total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something.
Plus all the ones in the dress
Yes,
rehearsal.
that's something. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you guys. I look forward to seeing the show. Me and Isaac have not seen it yet, so I look forward to this dream scene. And yeah, you guys put on a great show every year. I have no doubt this will be no different. But with that being said, I'm your host, Jalen Bullock.
I'm your co-host, Isaac Reynoso.
And this is the Everything Entertainment Podcast.